At the end of the battle, hundreds of planets had been destroyed, while at the moment, as if it were a meteorite, Kakarot would fall to the planet of Beerus, creating a great destruction, while his entire body began to swell due to the excess energy he had used. But unlike the battle with Solemn, on this occasion, Kakarot was still conscious, because his resistance level had increased in a great way. But despite that, the pain was incredible, and this was clear since his screams were able to be heard all over the Universe 7. Solemn would quickly go with Kakarot. "Thank you for saving us, but your internal systems completely destroyed this time. I'm afraid it would be impossible for you to fight again." To everyone present was surprised by the words that Solemn had said. "No, Solemn. If Kakarot's disabled in his energy cultivation, he'll have no reason to continue living. I know the Saiyans. They are only driven by their combative instinct." "But father, it's impossible to restore Kakarot-sama's internal system. That only is an omnipotent God King, I think, would be able to achieve it, and none of us possess such a power." "Apparently we won this battle, but we will lose the war. We'll never be able to do anything." But from a great flash, which no one had been able to observe, a bright silhouette was in front of Kakarot. Everyone present, without caring about anything, rushed against that mysterious warrior, who without any difficulty was able to stop each of his attacks without the slightest difficulty. "What? How was he able to stop a blow with all my power with just one of his fingers? This is amazing. We're not able to even touch it, because its simple pressure forms a barrier that we're not able to break." At the moment, the great light would begin to fade, managing to observe Zeno-sama in his combat form. The power he condensed was amazing, so much that this time he was even able to end the life of a celestial with a single blow. "But my lord, how is it possible that you're alive? This is amazing. I can't believe it."
"I've always been considered a simple king at all, but I've never had to go through a training. So when I was about to die, I thought about my dear son Kakarot. If I had trained, none of this would have happened."
He's given me to understand that all that incredible power he currently possesses was able to achieve it by training in this short period of time.
"You're right, Daishinken. I am a prodigy, and I will heal my son."
Zeno-sama would begin to approach Kakarot, which at this moment had already been completely knocked out of combat. So at the moment, Zeno-sama would place one of his hands on Kakarot's forehead, setting a large part of all the power of a king of the whole flow. So at the moment, an amazing power would begin to penetrate Kakarot's entire body. Recovering every vein of energy, those present were surprised at how a king of the whole was able to achieve such a feat. "This is amazing. I can't believe the power Zeno-sama possesses right now. I'm sure he could sweep the floor with any warrior of the Divine First Division." "That it is, my lord. Prove that you are not at all easy to eradicate. No matter who our enemy is, with the power of the great Zeno-sama, there's nothing to fear." "This will be very interesting. After so long, apparently I have to stretch my muscles. Fighting next to King at all. This will be very fun."
"But Mr. Beerus, for that we'll also have to become much more powerful, because with the current power we won't be able to do anything."
"Have you forgotten the angelic power that the mighty Solomon-sama has bestowed upon us? We've not been able to train him, since at the moment that guy named Hades had arrived on our planet."
"You are correct, Mr. Beerus. On this occasion, even we divine beings will be able to get hold of a great destructive power." On this part, returning to the angelic place, Tsuyokomi, realizing a gigantic power, would hopelessly turn to his king.
"My lord, I have terrible news. The 5th commander of the 2nd Division has been eradicated, as is the mighty Hades from the 1st Division." "That's a hard thing to believe, but if your right hand tells me, it's something that has really happened. But tell me, who has the necessary power to confront us?" "Believe it or not, it's the multiverse of Zeno-sama. But there's something else, my lord. The king, the all Zeno-sama, has broken the main divine rule. He has been able to have a son with a mortal, and the power with which his son was born is unparalleled." "I see. In that case, the king of the whole Zeno-sama, like his son, will have to die. And for his simple impertinence, half of his multiverse will have to be eradicated." "I understand, my lord. But at the moment, do you want me to deploy a squad? Or are we just waiting to find out what's going on?" "Don't worry.
I plan to send the Archangel of Death. He only has been defeated by me, since even he has the same power as yours.
My lord, am I really planning to wake up the Archangel of Death? This will be very dangerous, even for us, since it is very complicated to make him come to his senses.
Don't worry, he can only come to his senses with a being who's more powerful than him, since the killer instinct that the body possesses will always bow down to a much more powerful instinct.
Understood, my lord. As you order.
The king of the entire angelic kingdom, named Grimoire, would begin to walk towards a large giant door of his entire palace. So, at the moment of opening the great door, a beautiful being could be observed with wings, which made him even look like an angelic being of the entire level. But at the moment of releasing all his bonds, a large armor would cover his entire body, while his power in the same way would begin to increase in an incredible way. So after a few minutes, the warrior, without warning, had launched himself against Grimoire. At the moment, both warriors began to exchange thousands of blows throughout the angelic kingdom. The blows that both connected generated great damage. However, Grimoire was only using 65% of all his power, unlike his enemy, who was using all his power. The Archangel was able to connect a sneaky blow in Grimoire's stomach, sending him to part of the planet, creating incredible chaos all around.
At this moment, my power even exceeds yours. Previously, you were able to defeat me and hold me captive as if I were a simple animal. But this time, my power is even able to end your life.
From the great crater, a great aura would rise from the angelic realm, while an amazing pressure would cause everything around it to start shaking. Even the Archangel of Death would be dragged to the ground due to all the powerful pressure.
You have the same power after millions of years, but this time my power has increased in an incredible way. But I don't want to end your life. I have an important mission for you, and I want you to be part of my elite warriors.
Damn it. Me being the most powerful angel of death of the 24 archangels. I will start working for the angelic kingdom for this fucking humiliation.
The Archangel at the moment with all his power would connect a powerful blow on Grimoire's face, but this blow on this occasion had been able to move him a single centimeter. But Grimoire, at the moment of a certain blow on his stomach, had sent him flying millions of kilometers from where they were. While Grimoire at a great speed would appear again in front of the Archangel, who would vomit large amounts of blood.
I ask one more time. Do you want to be part of my whole army, or do you want me to end your life right now?
I'm sorry, and that's okay. I'll be part of your whole army.
You've made the best choice of your life. You will regret it.
Grimoire would immediately stretch out one of his hands, beginning to heal each one of the Archangel's wounds, which instantly was able to stand up again.
But before working with you, I have a question. How have you been able to get all that incredible power? I can't take it in.
In all this time, believe it or not, I have dedicated myself to training, so that my power is able to grow in a constant way.
That's awesome. I never thought that the power god Grimoire would undergo a training.
Since our last battle millions of years ago, I knew I couldn't let anyone be able to surpass me. So, after all, I started my great training thanks to you.
So, after all, I was the one to blame for you becoming such a powerful warrior as you are now.
In a nutshell, that's how it is. But I have a very important mission for you, since you are the only warrior capable of carrying out this mission. I want you to completely eradicate the entire multiverse of Zeno-sama, as well as all its inhabitants.
You know that they call me the Archangel of Death. That's the best mission you've ever been able to grant me. So leave it in my hands.
I knew you'd be perfect warrior to carry out this great mission. I'll leave it in your hands completely. I'm counting on you.
It wasn't a bad idea to join you after all. I wanted to destroy a few planets. Right now, I'm leaving for the multiverse of that damn.
The Archangel of Death would begin his great journey into the multiverse of Zeno-sama. Meanwhile, Tsuyokomi would approach towards his king.
My king, I have a question. Why have you chosen the Archangel of Death? If you know that with me, it would be much more than enough to end all that universe. You are my right-hand man, and I'm not gonna let anything happen to you. Those bastards, I'm sure, are up to something. And if not, when the Archangel finishes his mission, I'll plan to end his life, since I'm sure he thinks the same.
Returning to the planet of Beerus, Zeno-sama, after days transmitting his power, would stand up, while Kakarot would be observed as he slept peacefully.
My lord, have you been able to heal all of Kakarot's energy veins?
That's right, Daishinken. Although it's cost me too much, my son is out of danger. Now he just needs to rest for a while so he'll be able to access his new power.
That is amazing. So, you've been able to do what you've even left me impressed. Since I am aware that I'm not weak at all, but I also have a bad feeling.
You're not the only one. Even though I've gotten all this power, I feel like my body is shaking from feeling to death. And I don't know what's gonna happen.
Mr. Beerus, at this moment we will start with our training, as we really must be able to use this in the new training.
I agree with you, Whis. It'd be better to train in another dimension to have better results in a short period of time.
I agree with you, Mr. Beerus. That's how the deities of Universe 7 had left for a different dimension to begin with their great training. However, at the moment, Solemn would likewise approach Daishinken.
Daishinken, we must also train. I want to recover all my sealed power, as I'm sure we'll need it in this great battle that's coming. I understand, but I don't have the necessary power to train you. My power's not able to cope with you. Don't worry about that. I'll grant you a lot of angelic energy so that you'll be able to have better results in your workouts. Don't worry.
Both warriors had likewise left for one of the rooms of the Kingdom of the Whole, while Zeno-sama was meditating next to his son with the intention of recovering all the power and essence that he had given to his son. It had already been 2 months since this event in which Kakarot would begin to stand up, realizing how Zeno-sama was training. But in the distance, Kakarot, possessing the perception of the much more developed energy, was able to perceive how a powerful warrior was approaching. A warrior who on this occasion was capable of finishing off any warrior who puts on his forehead.
Father, a mighty warrior's approaching. If he keeps the speed up, he'll be arriving in about 3 weeks. Kakarot, are you sure? You've just woken up. Your senses must be a little altered due to all the time you spent out of combat. No, Father, I'm completely sure of what I'm telling you. In that case, you and I will have a rigorous training, since you've never had the opportunity to train with your father. But now, I'll grant you the best training.
Father and son began with their great training, which on this occasion the power of both seemed to collapse, since Zeno-sama had the right knowledge to know that the Saiyan warriors became more powerful thanks to their battles, while meditation was only to master their essence and power completely. After about 2 weeks, Kakarot on this occasion was even able to recover his tail, with which he had not been able to increase in power. However, in all this time, he had never observed the full moon. So, on a night that both were training, Kakarot was able to observe the full moon for the first time, becoming a gigantic Ozaru, while his power seemed to have no limit whatsoever, beginning to destroy everything around him. What will happen next? Find out in the next chapter. Well guys, this is all for today's chapter. I hope you liked it and it was to your liking. Now don't forget to leave your powerful like Supreme God level, comment and subscribe. Now without further ado, see you in a new video. Until next time.